Welcome back to Rock Your Best Vocals. My name is Jim Chandler, a professional singer for over 30 years, a professional vocal coach for over 20 years. I got a request to analyze Little Richard's voice, how to sing like Little Richard. We're going to try. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy. And if you think it's not easy, and I think it's not easy, we're not alone. In fact, one of the greatest singers of all time, in one of the greatest bands of all time, also talks about that. We're going to get into that later. This is why I'm doing this video, because he is one of the greatest of all times in terms of like gravelly, gritty distortion in his voice. He is one of the greatest singers of all time. Not only do I think so, and many other people think so, but he does himself.
God bless the Beatles, and he did. I used to have to buy their steaks every day. John Leonard would come up and make all these big bills, and I had to pay them. I had the Beatles, I had Jerry and the Pacemakers, and a group called the Swingin' Blue Jeans. I had Mick Jagger. So nobody never heard of these people. All I want them to do is to spread what they got from me. You know, God gave it to me, and they got it from me, so just carry the good word over the world, that's all. Like James Brown, he was my singer in my band, he was with me. Yeah. Joe Tex was my singer, Otis Reddings. Jimi Hendrix was my guitar player for 4 years. But what did he do? I did it all, but then nobody know nothing about it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze a few of his isolated vocals, and this one is the one that probably most people would know anyway.
Oh, I got it.
So he's got that gritty. It's very much like the kind of Dave Grohl gravelly, growly sort of distortion in there. So in order to do this, you need to understand how to support your voice correctly. If you understand support correctly, you can do all of these rock things that all these great rock singers do without destroying your voice. So if you want to understand everything that there is to know about support, I put a course together for you down below. It's called Singing Support Secrets, and you can click that and take that for free now. It's a limited time offer, so I'm going to put the link down below in the description and in the pinned comment so you can take that and understand how to use your support correctly so you don't damage your voice. So let's get on to the rest of this.
Yeah, named David. She almost drive me crazy.
Almost drive me crazy. Everything that I'm doing is supporting down in my abdomen area, okay? And I'm supporting this kind of a forwardy, upward movement of the air, right? Up through the vocal folds. Almost drive me crazy. Almost drive. If that was clean, it was, almost drive me crazy. But you really have to support into that. Almost drive me crazy. And there's this false fold rattling in the back. It's kind of, if you go, kind of like a buzzer, right? Almost drive me crazy. So you have to kind of try and get the sound from starting from the clean. And so you feel the arytenoid cartilage, your false folds, which are above your true folds. If you go, but if you support that correctly, you're not going to start to feel like a cough. Okay, so if you're not supporting correctly, you're blowing too much air through your vocal folds and you will feel the need to cough because your vocal folds are flapping together with all that air and they're getting dried out, and it's like that causes you to cough. So let's move on, because this is kind of this is a lot of what Little Richard does with that.
Named David. She almost drive me crazy.
She almost drive me crazy.
Love me, yes indeed. Boy, you don't know what you
Boy, you don't know what you do to me, Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy. Okay, so anyway, you get the picture on that song. Anyway, let's move on to the next song.
Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid.
Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. So it's really takes a lot of compression to get there. Compression is what's happening in your chest. So your abdomen is kind of trying to force the air up out of your lungs, and then your vocal folds are creating a valve that is allowing this compression. So you're trying to push up and stop the air from coming out. Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. And if you're trying to kind of force too much and too compress, it can get kind of caught in your throat and get a little bit Well, it's Saturday night and I just, so that you can hear, oh, it's like this, like, but you really have to start that airflow. Well, it's Saturday night and I just got paid. There's a lighter sort of feeling to it. Saturday night. Well, it's Saturday night and I feel fine. So it's not, it's higher. I feel fine. So it's up still in the false fold, but it's up at the very tippity top of those.
Shack go down by the Union Hall.
Shack go down by the Union Hall. Oh, oh.
Don't stop jumping. I have a ball. I'm gonna rock it up.
And now I have a ball, gonna rock it up. So there's a lot of compression going on. Okay, now let's move on to the next example. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Good golly, Miss Molly. So I'm starting a little bit high. Good golly, Miss Molly. So we kind of try to get good golly, Miss Molly. Start to really light to feel where that is, right? Good golly, Miss Molly. Good God. And start to slowly kind of compress into it. Slowly push up from the abdomen, up, compressing, not letting the air come out. Good golly, Miss Molly. I'm really pushing. I'm lifting into it. Good golly, Miss Molly. The next example is by far, I find the most difficult. Let me know which one you find the most difficult in the comments below. Let's get a little dialogue going. I find it so difficult to get it. Lucille, check it out.
Lucille, you won't do your sister's bid.
So this breath in and this reaction and reaction that happens. Lucille!
Lucille.
Okay, so it's got to compress a little bit more. Lucille! There's a crack there, but it's kind of getting there. Like that, like I said, this is just super, super difficult. And like I said, if you find this difficult, you're not alone either. Obviously, I'm finding it difficult, and there's somebody else that's coming up. I'm going to share that with you, who's one of the greatest singers of all times, one of the greatest bands of all times, also finds it difficult.
Lucille.
Using a bit of that instead of the higher arytenoid cartilage or false folds. Try kind of Lucille. That's a little bit better. So see, you understand playing around with this stuff. Try to get a little bit more. And the key is support.
You won't do your sister's bid.
So he's, you won't do your sister's will. He's, you won't do your sister's will. He's really, just, there's a lot of force going in there, right? But a lot of force, but he's stopping that. So it's not blowing a ton of air out and just like, dumping air, just causing havoc for the vocal folds. There's one more song that I want to do, but it is actually my favorite. So I said I got to throw it in because I just love the way he sings this. So there isn't an isolated vocal track for this one, unfortunately, but I'm going to have to stop it a lot, but we're going to just listen to the incredible grit that's in this song. It's just incredible. Let's listen.
Gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John.
Really gargly distortion. It's amazing.
Claim he has a misery, but he having a lot of fun. Oh.
But he having a lot of fun. Nah. So that he claims he has a misery, but he having a lot of fun. That is moving higher up into the. So he's moving up and down. But he having a lot of fun, oh baby.
Yeah.
Even that. Yeah, baby. This next line is my favorite. It's just hilarious. It's just like, think of the story of it. It's just.
Well, I saw Uncle John with bald head Sally. He saw Aunt Mary coming and he ducked back in the alley.
So fun, yet so gritty and dirty and just like, I mean, it's just so raw, like listen to that when he's, and so we get that by breath in, action and reaction. Well, so Uncle John with bald head Sally, he saw Mary and he jumped back in the alley, oh baby. Just, you start with that. That's that vocal compression. That's vocal fold closure is so important. Okay, so anyway, so I know I've struggled through some of this stuff. You've probably struggled through watching me. And at least I can know that this incredible singer shares that little bit of difficulty with me.
I used to do Little Richard songs. I used to do, in the Beatles, I did a song called Kansas City, which is a real belter. And I'd always talk to John about how I sang it. And he and I were talking one day, and he said, how'd you do it? I said, well, it just comes out of the top of my head. So that's the nearest I can get to it. I just sort of...
He's talking about it coming out of the top of his head. He's not talking about bearing down. And I'm going to do a whole other video on that, but all the reasons why that can get you into a lot of trouble. He's talking about it coming out of the top of his head.
So that's the nearest I can get to it. I just sort of start screaming, and this voice comes out somewhere. It feels like it comes out the top of my head.
Starts screaming. So there's a lot of good information in this. Comes out of the top of your head. Feel like screaming. Kind of like yelling at somebody. Hey! Hey! Well, song of John with Bald and Sally. Kind of the same thing. This force coming out and up through the top of our heads.
But then when I was in the studio having difficulty doing it, John just came down, he took me aside and he said, I remember. He said, look, it comes out the top of your head, remember? I went, oh, yes, of course. Good advice. And I got it the next take.
Isn't that amazing? Like we as singers, it's so important to understand feelings of things and how certain things feel in our body. And the fact that he described this feeling to John, and then when he was having trouble, John just came back and said, remember this feeling. And he instantly recalled it. So that's why it's really important to feel everything that's going on in our bodies. Even if you have to close your eyes when you're singing and try to feel different things, where things are going on, what's moving, all over your body, everything, in your support, in your placement, right? Up in your breathing, okay? Up everything here with your vocal folds, everything. It's so important to try and feel these things and even to yourself, describe these sensations. I've done that throughout my vocal journey. See what works for you and what doesn't work for you and why it doesn't work for you and what feelings you're feeling in your body. And I tell you, if you do that, you'll get so much better, so much quicker than if you just try to sing stuff and you're not really conscious of everything that's going on in your body. Anyway, I hope this video helped. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know in the comments below which was your favorite Little Richard song or if I left one out and other reasons why you believe or don't believe Little Richard is the GOAT. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Rock your best vocals where your best keeps getting better. Thanks for watching.